welcome to the Fancy Thinker. I'm Jared, and today we are finally getting back to comics versus prose. This is number 15, and today we will be discussing. Ooh, there's a lot of light, a lot of glare there. All right, issue number 3 from Assassin's Apprentice 3. Which is basically issue number 15, and first thing I wanted to start with is what an awesome cover this is. I really love how this dagger is kind of hanging over their heads. They're staring at each other, having a serious looking discussion, and they're contemplating their fate, basically. And this dagger is important to the story inside because it represents the danger of their occupation, but also it represents the oath that is hanging over their heads, because that dagger is a symbol of the oath that they both took to their king and their country. And so I really like that cover. I think the cover artist, Anna Steinbauer, outdid herself for that one. Yeah, very cool. So going into the text here, we have where we last left off. We left off right in the middle of a chapter, and it was chapter 18. And this issue picks up right where the last issue left off, and thus right in the middle of the chapter where we left off in here in Assassin's Apprentice. And once again, most of this issue is basically taking the text directly from the book and placing it into this story. The wonderful thing about it is Ryan Kelly's artwork. Once again, it is amazing, and I love also the colors are amazing by Jordie Bellaire, because they're using different tones to represent different ways of looking at what's going on, because a lot of this is exposition in the book, and it's Fitz looking back at stuff that happened. So that kind of is his story in red, and this kind of sepia tone is what he's imagining, or he's telling us that other people have done. And so that's kind of like the king with everybody, on strings, doing his will. And that continues right on to the second page, where once again it's stuff that's in that red. The red usually represents a violence and chaos going on, and I thought that's just very well displayed by the artwork and the coloring. I can't praise this artwork in this series enough. Ryan Kelly just continues to knock it out of the park. And so we go right into some dialogue between the king and Fitz and Prince Verity. So we have the dialogue is pretty much taken right from the book, and they have some description in here about Verity's looks and how he looks withdrawn and the colors drained from his face. And you can kind of see, from the artwork how Verity looks. And so that was displayed in the art rather than putting it into the text, into the comic. And gets taken right from the book. It's really amazing how much the prose in here gave itself to being interpreted by artwork, and with the prose still intact. That's kind of rare. A lot of the times the artwork is going to display 1,000 words, a picture's worth 1,000 words, and you can try to piece it together. But in this case, it just blends so well, and I really love how they do it. So once again, word for word, they whenever they're talking about stuff that may have happened in the past, from one person's perspective. They go back to that sepia tone there, and that represents something that happened previously that somebody's telling you about. So it might not have happened exactly as they're remembering, but that's how they're remembering. In this case, it was Prince Verity who was relating that tale. And so we go on to page 5, 6. There's, like I said, nothing particularly that stands out different from the book. This is this is the case here where whenever the book describes Verity as being agitated or worn or drawn, you can see in the artwork how agitated he looks right there. And I just love how, once again, how Ryan does that, Ryan Kelly. And even when the description here of the king leaning on the windowsill, it just perfectly lines up with the description in the book. We also have let's see here, in the previous page we have, let me see if I can find that. Yes, no, and no. Page. Yes, and the artwork here when he is slamming onto the table, and that's also described in the book as well. It's just, I really love it. Really love how it's done. But there's not much difference to point out, to be honest with you. And I which is amazing. It really is amazing. Anyways, we move on to one thing I want to point out. This is a thematic thing going throughout this area here, where people depart from each other always with looks of consternation on their face. And this is where Fitz is departing from the king, and he's just saying, as you wish. He doesn't quite agree with how things went down, but he's going to do as his king told him. And he says, as you wish. And that's kind of a common theme running throughout this issue and throughout this section of the book here. So we finally get to chapter 19. Once again, the epigraph is not displayed here in the comic. That's been pretty common throughout this whole series. It just gives you a little background on these mountain kingdoms that Fitz will be journeying to soon. And the beginning of this chapter just once again directly goes into it in the comic. It shows a lot of stuff that Fitz is doing, or that he did, and it's a lot of things, a lot of background, a lot of exposition, I should say, in here is portrayed through that red lens, because it details a lot of stuff that happened in the past that is related to Fitz is relating to us, I should say. Yeah. And so we get to, let's see, page 13, page 14. Yes, when, oh, yes, right. When Fitz tries to visit the fool's residence in its own tower. Very interesting artwork there, because this page right here barely takes up a little tiny paragraph. But the artwork just says so much, even more than what's described in here. It just gives you the whole layout of the room, and really thought that was spectacular. The artwork even portrays this doll as lifelike, which is what Fitz was thinking. He was fooled by the doll, and foolishly remonstrates himself with thinking it could be a baby, which he says is ridiculous, but it was just so lifelike, and I like how the artwork brought that across as well. And so he finishes that visit to the fool's room, and he goes back to Shade. And I like the artwork really displays Shade's Shade's. He's not looking so well either. He's looking kind of haggard, worn down and gray, and a little looking a little bit of his age, So, um, so, but this is the scene where they show that dagger in the mantle, which is that cover, which is just fantastic. And so that is just very well done. They speak of Verity making complaints on Fitz's behalf against Galen, and we get a little glimpse of the past there. We saw that in previous issues, that Galen mistreating Fitz, and so we see that Fitz is thinking about it. A very interesting thing on this page that they don't show in the book is they speak of how the king would use them as pawns and would sacrifice them if he thought it was for the good of the kingdom. Whatever the king thinks is for the good of the kingdom. And the artwork here shows Shade and Verity and Fitz, dead. And that's kind of like a Fitz kind of thinking that's not described in the book at all. The artwork, the artist and maybe the scriptwriter Jody Hauser, maybe thought that was an appropriate image to put there. That that is the possibility of the king's usage for them. So, and once again, Fitz is departing Shade, and it's not a happy departure. It's a somber, and it's somebody telling him not to forget something. So remember that. And the next section details Fitz getting his ear pierced by what's her name? I can't remember her name. Lady Patience, yes. And so she just kind of shoves the earring into his ear as a sudden piercing. The comic kind of speeds that up a little bit. There's a lot more description in the book that goes on before she does that. But I thought the comic handled it very well. I thought it was kind of amusing. And he's got some blood on his fingers, and he also leaves her with a very a quip that kind of puts her words back onto her, because she was sorry for making him bleed. And so he's leaving her as well. And then he gets a visit from the Fool, and they talk, but the Fool is not his usual jovial self. So you see a theme running here that Fitz is leaving. He's leaving a lot of people, and the Fool gives him warnings. He gives him he gives him something to help him. And then the Fool's done this in the past, so we know that the Fool has some sort of prescience or something like that. And the Fool's, like I said, he's not jovial like normal, and he gives him a warning. He gives him advice before he leaves, which leaves, it's cryptic, and Fitz is hoping that that the fool forgave Fitz his trespass into his room. But I just thought that was once again very much taken out of the book, word for word, for the most part. Not much variation at all. So we get to this final page and the final parting. I just thought it was wonderful how they did this, and the artwork portrayed here is. It says in the book here, he encountered Verity on the stairs. He barely knew him, for he was ascending like a crabbed old man. And I just thought the artwork, really portrayed the that just a state that Verity is in, and how it's not good. It's really not good. The guy's worn out from using the skill all the time, and once again, this is the final parting of Fitz from somebody that he knows, and these are all the people that Fitz interacted with throughout the whole series, but especially through this particular volume, volume 3 here. And really, this whole issue was parting is such. I mean, it's not even sweet sorrow; it's just sorrow. So once again, another excellent issue that really took everything. Oh yeah, we're left in the middle of chapter 19 here. Once again, we're left in the middle of a chapter, and well, I imagine it's going to pick up with the next issue. We only have 3 issues left, so look out for issue 4 next month, and we only have, oh, I don't know, about 70, 80 pages left in here. Yeah, so 70 maybe. Yeah. So 3 issues, 70 pages or so. So, that's over about 20 something pages per issue. Yeah, that tracks, I think. We'll see how it goes. All right. That's it for today. Once again, Assassin's Apprentice 3, number 3. A really heavy issue, a thematically heavy issue, a kind of a calm before the storm type of issue. So we'll see what happens in the future. As always, if you like this, please like and subscribe below, and be good to each other. Thank you.